Hello, welcome to Portland. We're going to Essen tomorrow, actually. And one of the things I always do is record a list of my top most anticipated games of Essen. And that is not this list, actually, at all. This list is games that are coming out at Essen for the European market that we already own and enjoy and still have. Because that's one thing that you might not know about us is we call our games a lot. I am taking games to be sold, to be donated, to be moved out of my house like every other week. So if we're holding on to a title, there's a reason, and all of the games on this list we're holding on to because we like them, and we like them enough to keep them, and we like them enough to play them again frequently. This means that they rank like a 7, an 8, or a 9. I don't think there's a 10 on this list. There might be. We'll find out when we go through it.
Is number 9 on the list?
No, because it's already been released. That was last year's Essen. So yeah, so that's the precursor for this video. Also, we're taking the dogs on a walk because we go to the airport in like 15 hours. Ichi's pooping. I shouldn't film that. Also, most all of the games on this list we have streamed, and there's a link down in the doobly-doo to the streams that we've done. So if you're interested in seeing playthroughs, link down below. Steve is picking up the poop. Yep. Here we go, Newton. Newton came out at Gen Con, very soft, limited release. It's coming from Simon and, is it Horrible Games? I didn't do the right research for this list for Europe. But Newton is like an engine building, card driven game where you are turning this corner because there's another dog coming. Ichi, let's go this way, come on. Come on. Newton's a engine building, card driven game, and there's maps and you're moving them around, but it's like a little bit of a programming game because you have a hand of cards and you pick the card that you're going to play, and it builds off of the cards that you've played previously in that round, and then at the end of every round you have to take one card and keep it in your like engine thingy so it will help you for the rest of the game. There's very little player interaction, which is something that we enjoy. So it's Newton. I really like it. I like it a lot. Cumbria, which also came out this year, is somewhat similar from a weight standpoint as Newton, but has significantly more player interaction because it has player interaction at all. Ichi, let's go! Cumbria, I did a review of. You can find out more there. I did a playthrough. You can find it down below in the doobly-doo. That's all I'll say on Cumbria. Railroading! The Blue Edition is a roll and write game where every player has a map and you're playing. You have to use the dice that are rolled every round, so it's like bingo, where everybody does everything simultaneously. There's literally no player interaction at all, and you are making routes with trains or highways, and we like it a lot. The Blue Edition has lakes and rivers. It's more of a use these things to make your game better edition, whereas Railroad Inc. Red Edition, which we also still have and enjoy, is more of these bad things are going to happen to you and you have to deal with them. So yeah, we still have both editions, and we are planning on getting one of each at Essen for our nephew, who requested it subtly as his Christmas present. Kevin, if you're watching this, the surprise has been ruined. Welcome to, not This Abandoned Field, that's the name of a game, but Welcome to is a game for 1 to as many players have a piece of paper or a game board and can see the board. So yeah, I used to work for the company that made Welcome to in the US, yay! I still like Welcome to. I like Welcome to a lot. I still play it, even though it's not my job anymore, so that's kind of a sign. But it's a roll and write, but instead of dice, it's cards, and every round you have 3 options. You pick one option, you must pick one option, put it in your neighborhood, and it's like a number game that uses cards instead of dice, so the probability is different. And she's pooping again. Symphony number 9 is a game from More Ideas. You're
their patrons.
You're their patrons, and you're drafting favors from them to make you compositions and things, and then if you get them into performing at a concert, you gain money, which is great because the person who is the richest at the end of the game wins. But by becoming the artist patrons and like asking them to do work for you, you could kill them. Like if you work them too hard, they run out of tokens and they die. Yeah, we really like this one. I got this at Gen Con, maybe Origins. I don't remember. Really like it though. It's good. It's interesting. It's a different theme. So yeah. Whoa! Okay, I put the camera in the hand that has the dog leash on it. Steamrollers is a game by Mark Garrett's, maybe not. Ichi, out of the yard. Come on, Ichi, let's go. Steamrollers is another roll and write game, and it's a dice drafting game where you do railroads and stuff, and it's been a long time since I played it with more than just myself because it's got a solo mode and I've played it solo. But it's a different train route building game with like markets and resources and delivery. That's it. There's cubes and you pick them up and you deliver them. This is a great video. Subscribe for more. Spring Meadow is a tile placement game in the Uwe Rosenberg tile placement series that he was working on that started with Cottage Garden and then Indian Summer and now Spring Meadow. It's about placing tiles and you're melting the snow by placing them, but it has this weird or interesting scoring mechanic where you're actually trying to fill up rows or columns of your grid, and during scoring rounds, whoever has the most rows or columns filled up of their grid and like the most stuff covered or melted wins a pen, and the first person to win 2 pens wins. So it's a very, very fast game, and so you have to pay a lot of attention to what other people are doing. And it's just really quick, it's really simple. It uses mechanics from the previous 2 games in the series, and it's my favorite. Is it your favorite of the series, Spring Meadow?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is because of how it's streamlined.
Yeah. Can you appreciate the sunset? It's nice. Sagrada is a dice placement drafting game where you're making stained glass windows, and this one came out a few years ago in the US. It's now available in Europe, I guess, German edition. And yeah, it's dice placement drafting. The biggest criticism of this game is that they're small dice, so if you have large hands, it's kind of hard to manipulate, but it would be extremely expensive to have done larger dice. So it's kind of one of those things where it makes sense, it works. It's very interesting. There's a dog coming. This is not a treat, this is a camera. Sunflower Valley is another roll and write train game. What a surprise! This one we actually like more than Steamrollers. It's a lot less complicated. You roll and then you draft, and when you draft the die you just draw it in the section that you're supposed to, and at the end of the game you gain points for connected villages, sheep in pastures, and sunflowers on mountains. So yeah, it's really simple and straightforward. We have the like handmade edition that the dude was doing out of his garage. We pre-ordered them and it's like numbered years ago, and I love it. It's one of our favorite games. So I'm excited, really excited that it's coming out, and we actually might go buy a nice like published version of it because I think it might be another one that our nephew would like. So yeah, Sunflower Valley. Downforce. There's like no transitions in this video. I don't know what to do. Downforce is a race. It's a racing game where you're actually doing bets and bidding and then like insider trading. So nobody owns specific cards. You're just like the main financer for the car, and thus if your car places, you'll gain money for it. Like the one that you sponsored the most, if it places, you'll gain money. But for the most part, you could have primary sponsorship in a car and then totally tank that car's chances and still win the game by banking on, like betting on who actually will win. So yeah, it's an interesting game. It's a re-implementation of an older game by Wolfgang Kramer, and there's a tiny pupper on the steps. Hi! I love autumn. It's so pretty. There's like leaves everywhere. Ichi loves to crunch through them. I love to crunch through them. It makes me so happy. Alright, next up on my list is Patchwork Express. So this came out at Gen Con. It's a quicker, smaller version of Patchwork. It's literally the same game, but it's a smaller quilt board, so it's faster to play, and you can also play it with kids, but the button economy is the same. So it's like my first economy game. But we like Patchwork, but Patchwork is like a little long for us and brainy for us, but we like how quickly Patchwork Express can turn around. Like we can play 2 to 3 games of Patchwork Express in the time it takes us to play Patchwork. So yeah, there's that. Jump right into it. Claim is a 2-player trick-taking game. It is our favorite 2-player trick-taking game. It's by Scott Alms. It just works. The first phase of the game, you go through half the deck and you're playing cards a la trick-taking style to claim the cards that you're going to play with in the second phase of the game. In the second phase of the game, the cards that you claim are actually victory points at the end of the game. So yeah, we really like it. We got it last year at Essen. This year at Essen, they have Claim again, and then they also have Claim 2, which is new factions. And yes, I've played Claim 2. We'll probably get Claim 2, but I actually think that I prefer Claim more. Like, we haven't outplayed Claim, if that makes sense. I love Leafs. Junk Orbit. It's not a comment about that truck. It's actually a really nice truck. Junk Orbit is a game by our friend Daniel Solis. It has a really stupidly shaped box. Yes, I will admit that. It's a round box. But the game is really interesting. You use gravity like slingshot mechanics to do stuff. So you throw junk at your ship and the junk will move a certain number of spaces, and then you move your ship in the opposite direction of the junk that number of spaces, and you're doing that to do pickup and delivery. So what you're delivering is the junk that you're using to throw out. So it's a balancing game of like, do I want this junk because I'm going to deliver it, or do I want this junk because I'm going to use it as propulsion fuel? So yeah, it's an interesting game. I wish the box was less annoying to store. But yeah, I like it. If that interests you, just buy the game and then you can make a box. I think there's a tutorial on BGG on how to make a different box. Do that. Do you keep thinking this is treats? It's not treats. You gonna make it the rest of the way home? I love Autumn. Okay. Last, like, she like blends in. It's camouflage. All right. Iberian Rails. So Iberian Rails is a train game. It's like an 18x6 game mixed with Steam. So there's like engineer powers or powers that you'll draft that allow you to do actions every round. And you're building rail and you're into towns and then you're like running rail and things like that. We've only played it 2-player. We've only played it once fully, but we really liked it. So one of these days we're gonna stream it. We just have such a queue for that one. But Iberian Rails is really good if you like train games and you like those sorts of train games, but maybe you don't like the full stock economic weight of an 18xx game and you want to do something that's a little less stock heavy and more focused on like the train building part. Check out Iberian Rails. And that's it. Those are the games that are currently at Essen Spiel this year that are like on the preview list that we own and we still own, and I would probably buy again. Yeah, I would buy them all again if I just randomly didn't have them, because they're all good. Ichi, let's go. So I hope this video was helpful, because my preview list has a lot of interesting and new, unique games to me, but if you're already in Europe, they might not be new and interesting to you. So yeah. Also, my Gen Con list didn't get made because of reasons, and I didn't do an origin list because I was working origins. So some of these games were on those lists, but those lists didn't get made. So yeah. If you like this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to see my Essen most anticipated list, which I'll be filming next week in Amsterdam, and then editing and uploading right before Essen, which is on Thursday of next week. Ah! You got my treat?
Good girls.
Boop to snoot. Boop.